What is going on, people out there? It is your boy Nix, and I'm coming to you right now with more content. More and more content. You just saw the last episode of the Donna and Daddy show where we gave you all a glimpse into what we're calling our first Friday fights. You saw the preview there. You saw a little video there that we did coming up with Miles Morales, Spider-Man versus Batwing. Well, now here I am to bring you something else that I promised you. I got my little Scully on, and I got my whoa. Got my Batman t-shirt on because, I'm a little gruff, but it's how we do it in Gotham, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, here's what I'm going to bring you all today. Now, there are tons and tons of people who are fans of these larger-than-life comic book characters. Many of these individuals have experience and knowledge of these characters limited to what they've just seen on the big screen, TV, or even in animation. However, there are still just as many fans who have followed these heroes and villains from the explosive pages that come out every Wednesday. And the only reason there aren't, any more fans because they've either stepped away from comics or they just don't know where to begin. Now, personally, I'm a comic nerd, as you all know this about me. And I've been asked on more than one occasion, by the casual fan wanting to get into comics. They ask, where do I begin? I want to know more about this character or this team or this group. I've started watching this show or I watched this movie. Is this how it pans out or plays out in the comic? I'm even watching television shows and TV with my family and friends, and they ask me, who's that guy? Or who are they supposed to be? Are they important? So with that in mind here, this is a beginning of a 4-part series. Now, in this 4-part series, I'll be giving you the inside scoop on what you should have read by now and what you should be reading currently in DC Comics. From DC, Marvel, other major publications, and even the indies. Only the necessary and the noteworthy arcs. The culture of comics has its beginning, and here's yours. Welcome to your origin story. Thought that was pretty good there. So anyway, let's kick this thing off with DC Comics. Now, DC was founded in 1934, known as Detective Comics, and it's home to some of the biggest household names of comics that there are. Superman, Batman and Robin, Wonder Woman, and many more. Annually, this imprint will bring you great stories, arcs, one-shots, and even crossover events. After about maybe 6 to 7 or about maybe 9 to 10, maybe even 12 issues, they combine these into a hardcover, trade paperback, or even a graphic novel. Now, I recommend these current issues to get yourself reacquainted with what's going on in these universes. Now, I don't recommend going out and buying brand new stuff. Go out and buy the trades, buy the graphic novels to familiarize yourself. Also, if you're going to start buying these books, I do recommend going to your local comic book store. If you don't know where to find it, you can just go to comicshoplocator.com. That's comicshoplocator.com. Type in your zip code, and then boom, Bob's your uncle. That's where you can find your local comic book store and buy these graphic novels and trades. So, let's just go ahead and jump right into the creme de la creme, if you will, of DC Comics. And let's start with The Killing Joke. Now, Batman The Killing Joke is probably one of the best stories you'll ever read by Alan Moore and Brian Boland, looking to prove that any man can be pushed past his breaking point to madness. The Joker attempts to drive Commissioner Gordon insane. Refusing to give up, Gordon struggles to maintain his sanity with the help of Batman in a desperate effort to best the Batman. Also, we have All-Star Superman. All-Star Superman, written by Grant Morrison and Frank Quietly. Witness the Man of Steel in exciting adventures featuring Lex Luthor, Jimmy Olsen, Lois Lane, Bizarro, and even more. We also can look at Wonder Woman Volume 1, Blood. That's by Brian Azzarello, Cliff Chang, and Tony Atkins from the notorious New 52. Hippolyta, Queen of the Amazon, has kept a secret from her daughter all her life. And when Wonder Woman learns who her father is, her life will shatter like a brittle clay that she was sculpted out of. Read that one. It's a pretty good book. We also had The Sandman, Volume 1. Preludes and Nocturnes by Neil Gaiman, Sam Keith, Michael Jones III, and Mike Dringenberg. USA Today once called this the smartest comic ever written. An occultist attempting to capture death to bargain for eternal life traps her younger brother Dream instead. After this 70-year imprisonment and eventual escape, Dream, also known as Morpheus, goes on a quest for his lost objects of power. On his arduous journey, Morpheus encounters Lucifer, John Constantine, and an all-powerful madman. So that's a good one. Please read that one. We also have Aquaman, Volume 1, The Trench. This is by Jeff Johns and Ivan Reis. Now, this is the run that made Aquaman the badass that we know he is today. As King of the Seven Seas, Arthur Curry swore to protect his ocean home, and there's been no greater threat to date than what's to come. They are called the Trench, and they are hungry. As thousands of carnivorous beasts emerge from the ocean's depth, can Aquaman protect his people from this deadly new threat? Dun dun dun. And also the surface world that he calls home. So that's a good one. We also have V from Vendetta. Great movie, even better graphic novel. It's by Alan Moore and David Lloyd, set in a futuristic, totalitarian England, a country without freedom or faith. A mysterious man in a white porcelain mask strikes back against the oppressive overlords on behalf of the voiceless. We could probably use some of that right here in America, but that's just me. We also have Watchmen by Alan Moore and David Gibbons. It's the greatest graphic novel of all time. I need not say more. Kingdom Come by Mark Waid and Alex Ross. Now, this is in a near future. The DC Universe is spinning out of control. The new generation of heroes have lost their moral compass, becoming as reckless and violent as the villains that they are sworn to fight. The previous regime of heroes, the Justice League, remains under dire circumstances, which sets up a battle of old guard against these up-and-coming protectors, and a conflict that will define what heroism truly means. It's one of my favorite stories of all time. If you ever want to read Kingdom Come, it's amazing. Blackest Night by Jeff Johns. It's one of my favorite books ever. This book right here, I love it so freaking much. So it's pretty much the light of war between the Green Lantern Corps, Sinestro Corps, the Red Lanterns, the Blue Lanterns, the Indigo Tribe, Star Sapphires, and this one lone Orange Lantern named Lara Freeze. And it just goes crazy because Death itself, the Black Lantern Corps, have come to just take over and zombify the whole world. It's so deep, it's so interesting. Please go check that one out. We will also have Preacher number 1. Now, Preacher number 1 is a very, very good book. If you've never read Preacher, please start with this one. Preacher Volume 1, by Garth Ennis and Steve Dillon. After merging with a bizarre spiritual force called Genesis, the Texan preacher Jesse Cussler has become completely disillusioned with the beliefs that which he had dedicated his entire life. Now possessing the power of the Word, that's a pretty underlying theme there, power of the Word and the ability to make people do whatever he utters, Custer begins a violent and riotous journey across the country, joined by his gun-toting girlfriend Tulip and the hard-drinking Irish vampire Cassidy. Custer loses faith in both God and man as he witnesses dark atrocities and improbable calamities during his exploration in America. It's a mouthful there, but it's an excellent book. Definitely want to read that one. So that what you have right there is the creme de la creme, some of the best that DC has to offer as far as storylines. That's what you definitely should have read by now, just to get your feet wet in what comics is supposed to be for DC and Vertigo and all the other imprints under the DC umbrella. Now, crossover events, like I said, are a big part of what makes DC Comics so awesome. It gives you, the readers out there, an opportunity to see your favorite heroes and villains interact with or attack each other. So, if that's what you're into, you definitely want to start with the greatest one, which is Crisis on Infinite Earths. It's by Marv Wolfman, and George Perez. This is the book that changed DC Comics forever. A mysterious being known as the Anti-Monitor has begun a crusade across time to bring about the end of all existence. As alternate Earths are systematically destroyed, the Monitor quickly assembles a team of superheroes from across time and space to battle his counterpart and stop the destruction. The comic is amazing. The current DC CW TV crossover show, it does it somewhat justice, but it like I said, I'm a purist. I'm a comic guy first, so definitely read source material. Definitely read the comic. You will enjoy it, I promise. We also have 0 Hour, which is Crisis in Time. That's written by Dan Jurgens and Jerry Ordway. All of reality comes under attack when the mysterious force of entropy begins slowly erasing time itself, making its way from both the past and future toward the present. But even if the heroes stop the true source of the chaos, the world they save will never be the same. Great book. Infinite Crisis. Now, this is another good one by Jeff Johns. He's also joined by Phil Jimenez, Jerry Ordway, and George Perez. Another big reset button here for DC. You see the rise of the villain Superboy Prime. You see alternate versions of Lex Luthor. You see alternate versions of Supergirl. A lot of death, a lot of rising up. See some heroes come back. But it's a great story. Please read that one. And then you have Final Crisis. If you haven't noticed, there's a theme here with DC and their crossovers. This one's by Grant Morrison, Doug Mankey, and J.G. Jones. Every super being in the DC universe must face reality when Darkseid and his otherworldly legion of followers actually win the war between light and dark. See, this book doesn't have really a happy ending. This is one where Darkseid actually wins and something bad kind of happens. So I'll leave that to y'all to find that out on your own. Then you have another crisis, which is Identity Crisis. This is by the great author Brad Meltzer and Rags Morales. Unlike the previous tales of Crisis and Destruction, this is one of both a mystery and a tragedy. When the spouse of a JLA member is brutally murdered, the entire superhero community searches for the killer, fearing their own loved ones may be next. But before the mystery is fully solved, a number of long-buried secrets begin to surface, tearing the thread of the team apart, dividing the heroes, and it can bring the mysterious killer to justice, but they may be torn apart before they can even do that. Another great crossover, Forever Evil. This is by Jeff Johns and David Finch. David Finch is one of my good friends. I love you out there, bro. Forever Evil, pretty much the bad guys take on the badder guys. Lex Luthor leads the charge and takes on the Crime Syndicate. The Crime Syndicate is pretty much the evil versions of the Justice League from Earth 3. I think it's Earth. Yeah, it's Earth 3. Yeah, Earth 3, and it gets bad. It gets bad. I was fearful for an ending of a certain hero of mine that I love so much, but it didn't go out that way, and I'm glad it didn't. So, some fans aren't as fascinated by diving into the entire canon of DC and are solely interested in just a certain character or a certain few characters. So, real quickly, if that's what you're into, we'll start with this guy right here. We'll start with Batman. Now, if you're into Batman, here are a few good stories you should be reading or should have read by now. You got Batman, the Court of Owls saga, which was amazing. Get the DC Essentials edition if you can. You got Batman Year One, The Long Halloween, Hush, Under the Red Hood, Earth One, Volume 1 and 2. The Earth One series is amazing, by the way, from DC. Lovers and Madmen, Personal Choice. Batman and Son, Death in the Family, Death of the Family. Yes, read both. There's Death in and Death of, so check both of those out. The Batman R.I.P. and all of the Dark Knight Return books from Frank Miller. Anything that has Dark Knight Return by Frank Miller, please read it. I don't care what anyone says. The original run was incredible, but the rest of the books, to me personally, are just as good. So please check those out. Now, if you're a fan of the big Boy Scout in tights and a cape Superman, you have the Death and Return of Superman, which was an unprecedented run. It's pretty much what got people talking about comics again, in my personal opinion, back in the early 90s. You have Superman for Tomorrow, Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow. You have Unchained, Birthright, Secret Identity, Earth 1, Volume 1, 2, and 3, Hell on Earth, which was a great book, very slept on, by the way, from New 52, very slept on. Up, Up, and Away, Reign of Supermen, and Red Sun. Red Sun is an amazing book where pretty much it's a what-if story. Kal-El has fallen into communist Soviet Union. Yeah, it's pretty good. So check that one out if you can. If you're into Wonder Woman, if that's your thing, you have Wonder Woman Volume 2, Year 1, which is her rebirth, which is a great book, by the way. Love and Murder, Amazon's Attack. By the way, Love and Murder, written by Jodi Picoult, by the way. Great author, great take on Wonder Woman. From the New 52, you have Volume 7, which is War Torn, and War 8, A Twist of Fate, written by my good friends David and Meredith Finch. Love that couple. They're such great people, believers in Christ. I love them so much. Shout out to you guys. If you're into The Flash, if The Flash is your guy, of course, Rebirth. Check out Flash Rebirth. Flashpoint. Flashpoint speaks for itself. Now, I'm going to keep going because there are other stories besides Flashpoint. You wouldn't know. When the media does it, you wouldn't know. There's Starting Line, which is a great DC Essentials edition you should check out. You have Flash of Two Worlds, Terminal Velocity, Born to Run, and Lightning Strikes Twice. Great Flash stories if you ever want to get into some real Flash stuff. And this is a mix of both, this is a mix of both Barry Allen and Wally West. So check that out if you get a chance. Green Lantern, if you're in the Green Lantern. Now, if you've seen one of my previous videos, you kind of already know the stories I'm going to drop here. But nevertheless, Rebirth, check that one out. Sinestro Corps, or the Sinestro Corps War, rather. Check that one out. Rage of the Red Lanterns, Agent Orange, Blackest Night. God, I mean, Blackest Night is so incredible. War of the Green Lanterns, the Green Lanterns New Guardian series, which is incredible, starring Kyle Rayner as the head Green Lantern in that book here, the leader or the star of that book, I should say. Check that one out. And then Green Lanterns Volume 1, Rage Planet. So peep that one too, because we got two Green Lanterns in there, and they're both the stars of that show. Then you have Justice League Volume 1, Origins. Great to read and to watch with the animated film Justice League War. Definitely want to make sure you check that one out. Then you have Justice League, the Dark Side War. Then there is Dark Knight's Metal. Justice League Volume 3, Throne of Atlantis. Then you have JLA Volume 1. Great Justice League stories to read if you ever want to peep those. You don't have to read the entire scope of Justice League books, but those are definitely ones to touch on if you ever want to get in Justice League. Also, if you're into Teen Titans, check out Volume 1. Jeff Johns' run of Titans was impressive to say the least. And it's definitely something that you want to do to make sure you know what you're reading as far as Teen Titans books. Also, New Teen Titans, the Judas Contract, imperative story from the from the New Teen Titans. Judas Contract is an incredible story. Definitely check that one out. Also, you want to read Titans Book 1, Together Forever. Also, read Titans The Lazarus Contract. Two great stories. They're definitely not tied together. They're tied together somewhat. But you definitely want to make sure that you're not, tying them together thinking that, hey, I got to read this one to read that one. They don't belong together, but they're definitely tied together if you ever want to look into that. Also, you have Teen Titans Earth 1, Volume 1, and Volume 2. So definitely read both of those. Incredible stories. Other books to look into if you ever want to get anything else in the DC. You have Green Arrow, War of the Clans, Suicide Squad Volume 1, Kicked in the Teeth. Not to take it literally, but it's definitely a great book. Also, Shazam Volume 1, Saga of Swamp Thing Book 1, American Vampire Volume 1, Why the Last Man Book 1, and many, many others. So if you ever want to get into DC, this is where you should start. It's a good starting point. Anything I recommend to you guys, I promise that if you find your time to take the taste and just get all up in that DC Comics flavor, you'll definitely enjoy. Maybe not all of these, but most of these you will enjoy. So this is episode 1. Thank you guys for joining me. Please go subscribe down below. Hit that like button. Leave comments. Let me know what you thought of the video. Did I miss something? Did you think I should have included another story that I didn't include in here? Tell me what you guys think. Also, hit the social medias. Go to our Facebook at DYSG Media, Twitter at _DoYouSpeakGeek, and Instagram at DoYouSpeakGeek. I have been Nix. This has been a DYSG 4-part series called Origin Story. Again, I speak geek. Do you speak geek?